Okay, and there we go. Welcome, everyone. Last meeting of the calendar year, December 16th, 2022. Mark Weinstein, Jonathan Hebrink, thank you for being our greeters today, and to Eric for being our ticket master and probably for help setting up with Beth, I would assume. Yeah. Beth, thank you. Pete, Mark, and Mike, thank you for the great programs. And with that, I will turn it over to, where's he at? I don't see any charge. Oh, who would like to do an invocation?
I'm standing.
No.
Assume attitude of reverence, please. As we move into the holidays, may we all travel safely, spend great time with family. May the food nourish our bodies. Amen.
No, Denny usually lets me know if he's not going to be here, so I'm not sure if I missed it, but do we all know if Denny's okay? Have we heard anything, or do we know if he's traveling, or? Oh, okay, I'm gonna reach out to him. Mr. Joe Jenkins.
Yes, we're at 55% today.
Thanks, sir. Any guesses?
Yes, Miss Karen. Karen, like, not just not Karen.
Aussie guest. Karen. And with that, we're already at the Don Adams for a report.
It's one.
This is like a final exam, last one for the year, all the pressure's on. Pass or fail here today. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Good afternoon. Today is December 16th. It is the 350th day of the year. There's only 15 days left, and I think there's only 9 days left till Christmas. So we're winding down. It's also National Chocolate Covered Anything Day. Dinner of Reconciliation. And I don't see any here, but it's National Ugly Sweater Day. It's National Underdog Day. And it's National Stupid Toy Day. This is where we celebrate toys like Mr. Potato Head, Beanie Babies, Pembrokes, Weather Rocks, and Tamagotchis. We celebrate the Wright Brothers Day, which is recognizing the first powered flight on December 17th, 1903. In fact, I spent the morning out at the Wright Memorial as the Air Force celebrated that today. On December 18th, I'm going a little further this time because this is the last of the year. So you need to wear something green, pick up the phone and celebrate, answer the telephone like Buddy the Elf Day. December 22nd is National Short Person Day. I keep waiting for a National Tall Person Day, but I haven't found one of those yet. And for those of you that don't celebrate traditional holidays, Festivus is on December 23rd. December 28th is National Pledge of Allegiance Day. And December 30th is National Bacon Day. I think that probably should be celebrated every day, but that's just me. On this day in history, the Mayflower dropped anchor in Plymouth Harbor on December 16th, 1620. Miles Standish and a group of 18 settlers were confronted by 30 native Indians, which became known as the First Encounter. In 1777, the Articles of Confederation, the first U.S. Constitution, was ratified by one state, that was Virginia. It was ratified by all states in 1781 and remained in effect until today's Constitution was adopted in 1789. In 1897, the first submarine with an internal combustion engine was demonstrated. How would you have liked it in the first one to go in a submarine? Don't think so. Wow. In 1900, a National Civic Federation was formed, the U.S. to arbitrate labor disputes. David, you should be aware of that one.
Yep.
In 1908, the first credit union was formed in Manchester, New Hampshire. And in 1912, the first U.S. postage stamp picturing an airplane was issued. It's a 20-cent parcel post. In 1925, the Motel Inn, originally known as Milestone Motel, located in San Luis Obispo, California, was the first motel in the world. In 1995, the euro was officially adopted as a European currency. Things happening here in our club. Amanda Hayes, I think she had a birthday, or will have a birthday on December 21st. Mick Lundy, December 17th. And Tony Overholzer was December 14th. Her birthday, Brian Jarvis's wife Connie, will be on December 23rd. And a member anniversary, Fran O'Shaughnessy on 12/31. 26 years in the club. We have a couple of wedding anniversaries coming up. Beth and Dave Cusack on the 26th. And JD Huddleston and his wife Melanie on the 28th. In the news, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. They're believing there was a swarm of bees outside his house who were reincarnated ancestors. A man in South Africa attempted to communicate with them last month. And the swarm tragically retaliated by stinging him to death. And every monk in one Buddhist temple in Thailand was just defrocked after testing positive for meth. It gets a little bit lonely in those mosques. Just discovered, this is interesting, I thought this was a 14,000-year-old settlement in British Columbia. It may require revising the history books for North America. Originally, we thought that the humans entered North America 13,000 years ago via a land bridge from Alaska and then made their way down. But apparently, this particular village predates the Roman Empire, the Egyptian pyramids, and the invention of the wheel. There was a prehistoric turtle fossil the size of a car just unearthed in Spain. According to reports, the turtle lived 72 million years ago and was 12 feet long and weighed about 2 tons. And this could be exciting for those of you that are in the energy. First time ever, U.S. scientists at the National Ignition Facility in Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California successfully produced a nuclear fusion reaction, resulting in a net energy gain. We said earlier that the Pledge of Allegiance Day is on December 28th, and it's something we do at the end of every meeting here and pretty much every meeting I go to. So I thought I'd bring up a little bit of history of the Pledge of Allegiance and how it came about. The first iteration of the Patriotic Pledge of Allegiance was penned in 1885 by a Civil War veteran, Colonel George Balch, but it shares almost no similarities with the Pledge of Allegiance many of us learned. Balch wrote, "We give our heads and our hearts to God, and our heart and our country, one language, one flag." It wasn't until 1892 that Francis Bellamy, an editor for the children's magazine, The Youth's Companion, was asked to write a patriotic verse to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Columbus touching down on the continent. And that became the official version of the pledge. Bellamy was both a former Baptist minister and a Christian socialist, and was inspired by French concepts, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Over the late 1800s and early 1900s, the pledge was widely adopted in schools, and Balch's pledge was dropped. Small tweaks were made in the text, but the meaning remained unchanged. For example, today we say, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America," which wasn't the case on the National Conference, they added of the United States of America in 1932. One of the more significant changes occurred in 1954 when President Eisenhower asked Congress to add the controversial term "under God" to the text. This was in an effort to differentiate the American way in communist times. There's also been a great debate over whether schools should be required to recite that pledge. In the 1940 ruling, which compelled children to say the pledge, was quickly overturned in 1943 when Jehovah's Witnesses presented significant challenges to mandatory pledge. In 2004, there was a ruling that children did not have to stand for the pledge. This followed a 2002 Ninth Court Circuit of Appeals case in which an atheist whose daughter would soon start school argued that the pledge was unconstitutional and an endorsement of monotheism. Between 2006 and 2015, there were over 5 significant court cases challenging or somewhat related to the phrase "under God." And the most recent 2015 ruling stated that the phrase did not violate any atheist rights. So that's where the pledge came from. There was an ill business owner was discussing with his lawyer a final draft for his will and testament. As he was discussing with his lawyer, "I want to put a clause for my employees that have worked me for 20 years or longer. I want to give them or bequeath the amount of $50,000. His lawyer reminded him that he had not been in business the last 20 years. The business owner said, "I know, but it's going to be great advertising." Arnold Farmer's words of wisdom that we can all live by. Your fences need to be horse high, pig tight, and bull strong. Keep skunks and bankers at a distance. Life is simpler when you plow around the stone. Words that soak into your ears are whispered, not yelled. Meanness doesn't just happen overnight. Forgive your enemies. It messes with their heads. Do not call it something that you know is meaner than you. It doesn't take a very big person to carry a grudge. Every path has a few puddles. When you walk with pigs, expect to get dirty. The best sermons are lived, not preached. Most of the stuff people worry about ain't never going to happen anyway. Don't judge folks by their relatives. Live a good, honorable life. Then when you get older and think back, you'll enjoy it a second time. Swimming has little to do with the outcome of a rain dance. And if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing to do is stop digging. There's a husband and wife talking, and the wife says, "I'm ashamed of the way we live." Since she was saying this to a husband who refused to find a job. Said, "My father pays the rent, my mother pays all of the food, my sister buys her clothes, and my aunt bought us a car. I'm so ashamed." The lazy husband rolled over on the couch and said, "You should be ashamed. Those 2 worthless brothers of yours never give us a thing." There was an actor who had been for several years because he was always forgetting his lines. One day he got a phone call from a director who wanted him to play an important part in a play. All the actor had to say was, "Hark, I hear a cannon roar." Opening night arrived, and while he waited in the wings, the actor muttered to himself, "Hark, I hear a cannon roar. Hark, I hear a cannon roar." The time for the entrance finally came. As the actor made his appearance on stage, he heard a large boom. He turned around and said, "What the heck was that?" He was putting up a pine wall in the living room, and his son was curious. He said, "What are those holes for?" "Those are nut holes." "Well, if they're nut holes, what are they?" Send it all week.
Yeah, good. That's okay.
So surprised to hear the caller introduce herself as an IRS auditor. But we don't pay taxes, priest said. But as a youth father, it's one of your parishioners. Sean McCullough, he indicates on his tax return that he donated $15,000 to the church last year. Is that in fact the truth? He said the check hasn't arrived yet, but I'm sure I'll have it when I remind him of it. As always, I want to leave you with a couple positive quotes. Strive for progress, not perfection. And wherever you are, be a good one. Denise Hines, if you own a stupid toy, you still have one of those in your closet, that's $1. If you belong to a credit union, that's $1. If you have any euro at home, that's $1. If you were late today, I didn't see anyone, but I'm only charging $1 today because it's Christmas and I feel generous. And if you're not wearing your Rotary pin, that's $1. Now let's close and wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a very happy, prosperous, and healthy New Year. Brandon.
B minus for the semester, B minus. It's on. It's bathing, it's bathing. Okay, see your happy bucks. Should be able to, it's almost Christmas, so sorry here.
I got $20 celebrating, as Don said, 20 years of my level in colony on the 28th of December.
Mr. Lambton?
I'm gonna throw in a happy 5. We survived a record long year, lame duck session. The session began Wednesday afternoon at 1, and we gavelled adjournment Thursday morning at 6:15. So we pulled an all-nighter. And the last bill on the agenda was a $6 billion spending bill. I don't know if that was intentional or if they just figured we were too damn tired to argue with it. But I'm specifically happy that the Senate concurred with the distracted driving bill, so it's going on the governor's desk.
Who else?
So I got a couple to make up here. I got 3, I guess, real quick. So the first one is, I'm sorry I missed the gift wrapping. It's one of my favorite things that we do. But I had jury duty. And so it is always awesome to watch the process. Amazing. You have to be a patient person to be in law. The other thing is, today I get to do my craft. And my craft is something I did with my kids when they were in elementary school. So Abby and Isaac's in high school, Abby's out of high school. So my granddaughter, my stepson Mason's daughter, I get to go and do the craft I did with my kids. And so believe it or not, when I touched base with their teacher, she said, we don't do a holiday party. I was like, what? You don't do a holiday party? So I'm going to do a holiday party today for a bunch of kindergartners.
Nice. Fran.
Well, I have a couple of happy bucks. One, thanks to all those who came to gift wrap. We had a room full of people and we kicked it out by 11. We were pretty much done and out of there. So I just thank everybody for it. I think we had a good time and it's always fun to be wrapping those gifts and put them in the bags and thinking that they're going to be delivered on Saturday. So thank you. And the other happy buck is we leave on Sunday for 2 weeks in San Francisco. We will see both their sons and their families. So we're very excited.
Congrats. Safe travels. Eric.
I have a happy book and it's more of a commercial hat. Both Shannon and I are involved with Rotary Leadership Institute, and we have one scheduled for the 28th of January in Wilmington. And I want to invite those of you who have never been to RLI to sign up and go. Brandon has generously put in his budget ample money to pay for your registration fee. So if you decide you want to go, you just go to the link that you've gotten by email from me, sign up and say you'll pay by check. When I see your registration, I'll write a club check to pay for you, so you don't even have to write a check and ask for reimbursement.
I can vouch RLI is good. I almost wore my RLI pin today. And I opted for my veteran Rotary pin. It's been a while since I wore this one, but definitely good RLI if you have the time. It's a great program. Who else?
Oh, my third one, it hit me when I saw the thing. So, Camp Kern, which is part of the YMCA, is where we do, RILA every year, coming up in March. And, I won't get to stay for your speech because I have to go make a crack. But I wanted to say this before, what you guys do out there is amazing. Your facilities are incredible and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chris.
So I'll piggyback off of Brian's part of that lame duck session. We got notified the area that I was working with adult with developmental disabilities. When the bill got passed, is a 6.5% retention fund that we now can pay a lot of our frontline workers who only make 13, 14, 15 bucks an hour. Taking care and helping these adults with developmental disabilities live their best lives. So we have to roll out these big bonuses quarterly now because that finally passed.
Nice. Congrats. Anyone else? I've got two really quick. One, Ashley's on her way back. She was TDY and for the last couple of days have had Hunter alone, and I have an immense respect for every single parent. When you hear those stories of like, the single parent who went back to school and got their degree, I have no idea how anyone could do that. It's been a very difficult 2 days. It was just 2 days and I've aged. So very, very happy that when I do return work today, Ashley will be home. Second one's a little random one at my job. I'm still very new to my job. I do development work and I had this really positive thing happen yesterday. I was talking to a grad. We talked for about an hour, 45 minutes. And she mentioned how she had lost touch with another alumni over the years. And I asked if she would like me to try to find this person. And I shot them an email to both email addresses. They both bounced, called both numbers. They both were inactive. And then I saw on the file, if you've ever been to college, your colleges have like whole profiles on y'all, just so you know. And somewhere in the profile, another alumni had emailed us 3 years ago and said he moved to Mexico. That's all we had. So I emailed her because she was the last person and she forwarded that email to him. And he wrote me back last night and said, oh my gosh, I would love to be put back in touch with May. It's been many, many years. And he's like, yeah, I immigrated to Mexico now. So provided me the address, phone number, email address, and I was able to share that today with the other alumni. So I don't know, my job's to make money for the college, but that was probably the most rewarding thing that has happened to be able to rekindle a relationship. Felt very nice. And then on Brian Lampton's, he mentioned the primary offense, for those who aren't tracking that, it makes distracted driving the primary offense, was a secondary offense. So you have to be doing something else, speeding and then they could tack on distracted driving. Now they can just get you for distracted driving, which is going to mean you're going to get to go see Beth Capelli and defend your case. So just don't be distracted. Then you don't have to go see Beth. She's a lovely woman, but she'd prefer not to see you in that instance. So with that, let's see. Take your right. Okay, 3, 1, 1, 6, 2, 1.
I was so close.
All right. This isn't just Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
Recently, too.
Brandon, can you hear me?
Don't get it for years.
We're hoping for you.
Careful, there's 2 jokers.
You're on your way to California. It's not cheap out there.
Can you hear me?
Now, so
Rick,
So close.
what you get?
Horseshoes and hand grenades, though. Bruce. Okay, let's see. Announcements for the club. Good once, quick twice. Okay, quick board meeting after this. It should be quite quick. We have Christmas baskets project tomorrow at 8:15 at Dots Market in Bellbrook. Again, 8:15 tomorrow, Dots Market. And there are no club meetings on the 23rd and the 30th. We will be back on the 6th. And then, I've been doing that first coffee of the month on the first Monday. We're not going to do that one January 2nd. We're going to kick that one to the second Monday out of respect for the holiday there. So We'll see everyone again on January 6th. Anything else before I turn it over to the Michael Swick? And anyone who was late, feel free to pay your fines. Oh, it's been excused. Okay, it's legitimate. Mr. Michael Swick.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to all. It's my pleasure to introduce Dale Bruner. He is the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Dayton, where he has worked since 1992 at both Fairborn and downtown locations. Dale assisted with fundraising, planning, and opening the Kaufman YMCA in 2000 and worked as the executive director there for 6 years. He was offered the position of vice president of operations at the YMCA Association, where he has served since 2006. And as I said, he has been the president and CEO since 2014. Please welcome Dale.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it very much. First of all, thank you so much for what you do for your community here. The Rotary in every location just does tremendous work. And thank you. It's always great to hear the fun facts going on for the day, but just appreciate your participation in community volunteerism. So the YMCA of Greater Dayton has been serving the Miami Valley for 152 years. And I've been lucky enough to be here for 30 years. Some people in the audience, Mr. Gould sits on our board. Pete Bales out there, he has done some work with us in the past, and Mr. Kuzak over there. For all of our seniors, he's volunteered, and we're going to get that started again, by the way. He's volunteered to assist our seniors with their future planning, and we appreciate that. Great person to do that, very patient, and make sure people understand what's going on. So thank you. Little fun facts about the Dayton Y. We have 1,700 employees. We have 12 different locations. We go as far north as Salina, as far south as far as branches are concerned to Springboro, as far east over to Xenia, and as far west over to Eaton. And then of course, Camp Kern that was mentioned earlier. We have 50 different child care centers. That's a ton of kids we see each day, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then of course, our lovely Camp Kern, which is 678 acres of if you want to have a peaceful day, just go walk Camp Kern. 78 buildings, usually 45 horses, depending on the time of year, but usually 45 horses. 27,000 families currently belong to our YMCA. That's a ton of people. That's 27,000 families. So if they have 2 or 3, add that up. Then we have another 16,000 that are silver sneakers that come into our Ys at each of the locations. And in total, in 2021, we served 169,000 people. Now, perspective-wise, in the board of directors and Mr. Gould, they put it on us in 2010. We were serving 100,000 people, and the goal was by 2020 to serve 200,000 people. 2019, December 31st, we had served 208,000 people. So if you think about it, the pandemic has we're down 3,000 families that were members of our Y. Some different other programs. Still, childcare is still down compared to where it was, but we're trying to get through it, and it's definitely a challenge each day. One of the things I'll tell you about that is just exciting for us is we really focus on our mission, vision, and values within the YMCA. We're very fortunate. I started in '92. Mike Parks, I'm not sure if you're familiar with who Mike Parks is. He runs the Dayton Foundation. So he ran the Dayton YMCA, and I worked for Mike from '96 until 2002, until he started being the CEO of the Dayton Foundation. We were lucky enough to have the IMES company take us on for strategic planning. And Mike is the one that started that whole process with IMES, and they've just been so tremendous to the YMCA. Every other year, our YMCA gets together with our board and volunteers to talk about what's the most important things that we need to be looking at. So we have vision and mission. And that first time we met with IMES in '96, and I actually had the opportunity to be in that room, is that if you look in the vision, the partnership part and to improve lives was the key thing that came out of there. And Pete's work with us on one of these locations is that we decided at that meeting that we would do nothing again within the YMCA of Greater Dayton until we did it with a partner. So we had to do it with a partner. So if you look at all the Ys that we've had the opportunity to build since 2000, every single one of them, every single one has a partner in some way, shape, or form. And everything we do is a partnership. We built a miracle field in Springboro back in 2009. That was in partnership with the city of Springboro to provide adults and children with developmental disabilities a place to play baseball. And that was all in partnership. But today I want to tell you how the YMCA and how we work in this vision. This is an example of the latest project that we just did. It's just completed and it's under construction. The first thing that happens is we work with communities to find out what they're looking for. And this is the Northwest project. This is the old Good Sam location. And if you're familiar with that, I grew up in Huber Heights and went to Good Sam as a kid. So I was very familiar with this. And so this partnership is a whole concept of this is how do we provide as much as we can for the community? Community asks for certain things, certain opportunities, certain things that if you think about Springboro, Inglewood, Huber Heights, there's a lot of services around the community. They don't have to drive but 2-3 minutes to get to services. Probably where you live here in Beavercreek, you have to drive 2 or 3 minutes for services. So we met with 500 area and Northwest Dayton area people just to say, okay, what do you need? What do you want? What do you want to see here? And then my job is to go out and create the partnerships, create who, and Mike Parks is the one that taught us all how to be partners and good partners and make sure that we're serving the community. And this particular project, on this end, we Premier, because this was their space. This is Wright State, which we're happy again to work with Wright State. We have a partnership with Wright State up in Salina, Ohio right now. This bigger portion here is the YMCA. Up front in the darker blue, this is Goodwill. This is CareSource, and this is County Court. And so the whole idea is to make it so there's housing opportunities. If they do have CareSource, medical benefits, how can we make it easier for the families to get there and get the services they need? There'll be a kitchen at CareSource to make sure that they're learning how to cook healthy. And then Goodwill will be, of course, working through job placement. I mentioned, so this is just an example of what we try to do with our projects now. All of the partners in here signed a lease with the YMCA to be in this space. And the other part that how this works is our board members back in the late 80s, the YMCA of Greater Dayton was almost bankrupt. And as you think about how that works and how you got to that position, what Mike Parks did and what our board members have done in the past, they said you cannot construct any building unless all the money's raised. And so anything you can think about as a partnership, that's what we do. But this building is $17.8 million and there is no debt on it. And we were lucky enough to get PDAC funding. We were lucky enough, Sherrod Brown has put some money into it. So it's been a nice, new market tax credits are in this building. So there's a ton of different ideas to get this building constructed. So also, as you think about it, if you go back to what that, the vision part, the partnership, the other thing that we do is we were contacted in 2018 by the All-Glaze Mercer YMCA and said, hey, we're not doing well. We're not doing well. We don't have a good leader. We're trying to figure out how we can survive in this community and prosper. And for us, if you can, I live in Springboro. And so if I'm driving from door to door to the Minster location, it's an hour and 5 minutes. To Salina, it's an hour and 25 minutes. In the YMCA, the Y of the USA, which is located in Chicago, gives us service territory. And so we have the service territory, but we don't have Miami County, we don't have Shelby County, so we would be skipping over a few counties to even go up there. We took some board members up there, and the biggest thing that our board members told us, they were the board members who had spent time in Auglaize Mercer. They knew Crown, they knew Dan Yogurt, they knew the companies that and what the type of people were up there, and everything has worked out tremendously. We walked into that building, they had $7,000 in the bank, and right before COVID, they had 1.3 million in the bank, and we had put $1 million back into the buildings. And we took them on. The board agreed to allow us to bring them into the Dayton Wise and in 2021, and so we did that, and it's been a tremendous partnership. And just as you would imagine, we're lucky to have large businesses like Crown be so generous to the Y up there. As you look at the next thing is just our mission, and there's a couple things in our mission I just want to make sure you understand is Christian principles. We're a charitable organization. We don't receive government funding. Only thing we get is we get Title 20 funding, which is for kids who cannot afford for childcare. We get some of that funding from those kids, but basically it goes to the kids and to us is how that works. We're trying to enrich every family, spiritual, social, the mental, and then we're for all. You know, the YMCA has always been here. You know, I was at the downtown Y in the 90s. You see every different type of person coming into the downtown Y. It is so amazing. You'll have a person that's a president of a bank on a treadmill next to a person that makes $10,000 a year. And that's what makes us special, is for the fact of, you know, we provide scholarships to the community and we're willing to be there when people need us most. So, you know, as I want to talk about a few programs that we offer, and this is just a few that we do. In the back there, the tall guy is Tim Finke, just from Wright State. He was generous enough to give us some of his time last summer for day camp, and then this program, which is called Y on the Fly. This is again another partnership. Dayton Power and Light, the Y, Montgomery County, and PNC. The issue that we found, and this has been going on for 5 years, is we take the Y to communities and do a 2-hour program. So we have 11 different communities we visited last year. And so from June 6th to August 8th, whenever they go back to school, every Monday we're at this location and we have an activity for 90 minutes. And then for 30 minutes, they get healthy food. So the whole idea is that during the summertime, we make sure that the kids are active first, and then second, getting a good meal and take something home with them. And for us, 11 different locations every Monday. Let's just say we're at one location, we'll be back there that next Monday, so the kids can always count on us to be there. And we're from Xenia to Dayton schools to New Lebanon. So just a whole bunch of different school districts. The next one is of course, good old Camp Kern. You know, for me, it's Camp Kern. I went there in 4th grade, and it's outdoor education is a huge part of what Camp Kern is, and providing opportunities to kids. We have done some different things over the years, and probably 10 years ago, we started a zip line. So for those of you that have any adventure in you and want to take part in a zip line, literally, the last zip goes from Camp Kern to Fort Ancient across, and if you're standing, seriously, if you're standing like this, looking up the person, they look like a bird. They look like a bird up there. They're so high. And it's not for the weak at heart. It really isn't. It's one of those that you have to enjoy that. There's no weight limit. You're good. It's kind of like the first submarine, right? So in 2022, we had 2,193 campers go to Camp Kern for resident camp. That is better than our pre-pandemic numbers, which is very exciting for us. The summer campers, we gave out 226 scholarships. So the kids that are of the 2,193, 226 were on scholarship. We did the Circle K Ranch, which is the horses I was mentioning, and we had 349 of those kids. And then outdoor education, that's been the biggest thing that's been hit by the pandemic, is we only had 3,156 elementary age kids, usually 4th or 5th grade, come to Camp Kern this past year. And that's the part, we're getting the private schools to come back. We're just struggling to get the public schools to come back. And that's something we still have to work on. To the next one, this is our child care program. For those of you that don't know much about our child care program, we separated into its own branch, and it's the largest branch we have. So it's 50 different school age locations. So we're in a ton of different schools. We have 9 early learning centers and 11 summer day camps. So 11 summer day camps. In total, we see 1,323 kids in school age childcare, another 200 in early learning every day. And then for summer camp last year, we saw 5,000 kids. It's 5,033 actually. And then 834 of those are on scholarship. So, you know, we partner with our school systems as much as possible. And then the goal is how do we keep those kids in our different programs? So this is just a little bit about the YMCA. I really appreciate, again, your time today. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk about my favorite topic, and just appreciate you having me here today. Merry Christmas to everyone. My questions? I'm sorry.
Number one, I am a YMCA summer childcare child,
Great.
so I appreciate that. I do know, I don't know the background of it, but as you know, Beavercreek used to have a Y
Yes, ma'am.
from Dayton Raiders.
Yeah.
See that in the future coming back to Beavercreek or no?
That's a good question. You know how I mentioned this is how it works. I was here when it happened. I can tell you the Beavercreek Y finances were not good. It's like, first of all, there's a ton of different competition in the area, and then where the Beavercreek Y was located, it was different. And then also, and on top of it, it was a big pool. There was not a gymnasium, and there wasn't a fitness center until the Dayton Y took it over, and we took the childcare out and put a fitness center in. So it was very difficult. We were in discussions with a nearby location of doing something, but we're forming the partnerships right now. Yeah. That's the best I can tell you. It was in the paper not too long ago, but I don't like advertising it. So is there another question? Yes.
This one is super easy. You may have said it at the end, I may have just missed it. Earlier on, you said childcare was still down. Was that more like a supply side issue with y'all not being able to offer as much, or just less demands? Because everyone I know, like childcare waits are like pretty long.
But it's a combination. It's so hard. Pandemic childcare was, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna look over here and say it's just, I apologize, but it cost us a fortune. We would lose $30,000 a week in pandemic childcare. And we would do that because if you can imagine, let's just pick this table right here. You can only have a certain ratio of people. So I could be right here with this ratio. Well, let's just say Jim couldn't be there that day. Well, then I still was just with these 3 people, and it cost a lot of money. But we did it. But now the hard part has been getting people back to work for us to cut down on the numbers that are on waiting lists. And it's the amount of money. Now, I'll tell you, it's been very generous. We've been getting OKRA funding, which has helped out tremendously. But the hard part is we've had to pay so much to the staff, and someone said that here. I think it was, you said, pay a lot to the staff now, in order to keep them, and that's the hard part. So, I think that answered that.
I was just gonna say, as an aside to that, my daughter works at Mini U, Wright State, as a daycare worker, and she's making 50. Watching infants. So that's how much they're paying in daycare now.
See, I can't afford that. Yeah, and here's the other thing I'll tell you that's very interesting, is we offer a nice retirement plan. People could care less about that right now, and that is just so interesting. Wow. Any questions? Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, thank you so much. We do dedicate a book in your honor to the Beavercreek Library, which I think you have pre-signed here. Is that correct? Yes, thank you. Okay, the book says Swish, the slam dunking, alley ooping, high flying, our own Globetrotters. Thank you for signing that. Let's see, again, no meetings the next 2 weeks. When we do come back on January 6th, Mr. Pete Landrum will be giving the state of Beavercreek. There has been a sign-up sheet going around for greeters. I think that one had already signed up for January 6th. I believe that was Pete Bales. So hopefully someone else does it, so he doesn't have to do it alone. Let's see if I can get to the other slideshow here. I told Dave that we need to be more of an autocracy or more autocratic here, but he really believes in democracy and keeps telling me that I have to open it up to the floor for nominations. So, I don't know where the rest of my slides went. I had the slate on my slides, and I can't remember off the top of my head. We have Don Adams as president. Is it Joe Jenkins? Is it Joe Jenkins for secretary? We have Dave Brandenburg for an open position as one of the directors at large. Beth Handworker. I am definitely forgetting one there.
Sandy for membership.
Membership is up again. Okay, so there you go. So you have those 5. Is there anyone else from the floor?
I'll move to close personally.
That moves to close. Eric, you're famous for seconds, apparently. I'd be your second. There we go. All in favor? Aye. Aye, perfect. Okay, so we will be voting on that slate on January 6th. So you can either come to listen to Pete, or you can come to vote, or you can do both. So would love to have you.
There's no really voting for the board.
No already. No mail voting. So, okay. So from that, beavercreekrotary.com, Facebook, email me if you have any questions. Anything else for the good of the club? Okay, with that, so would you be willing to lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much.
Very much. So it's good.
Oh, man. There we go. Better. Okay, everyone have a wonderful Merry Christmas. Please be safe. Enjoy your loved ones. No meeting the next 2 weeks. We'll see you on January 6th. Also, there's very good board meetings right after this.